It's Wolf here with another CD review. Now, before I actually get into this review, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, I guess. There's going to be a tiny bit of swearing in this video, not because I really want to, but because the title of the album I'm going to be reviewing has a swear word in it. So, just want to give you guys a heads up on that because I know that sometimes people like to know about that sort of thing. But anyway, the album that I'm going to be reviewing today is Scumfuck Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. So let's talk about the art first. The cover of the album is a little bit surreal, but it looks pretty good. I kind of like that art style. It's got, all sorts of stuff going on, and it kind of fits with this whole nature idea that goes throughout the album. The whole thing about Tyler with I was in the woods with flowers and stuff. That whole theme, the cover really fits with that because of the flowers and the bees and the clouds and just all that sort of thing. It's got a really interesting kind of color to it. It's not really bright. I guess it would be the saturation levels of the picture. I don't really know exactly how to describe it. It just looks a little bit different than a usual album. It's kind of muted, I guess, is what you would say for how to describe it. It still looks really good though, and that kind of, I don't know, it feels fitting that the color is sort of muted. I really like all the little details in it. So there's a little rainbow and stuff, and I don't know if you guys will be able to make this out in the pictures that I took. But there's a little rainbow, and then in the way in the background there's a car on that little road. I like the little details like that. Those are pretty cool. The bees are a pretty central point here. I think that they look, they add to the picture. They make sense to be there. But my only complaint is I don't really understand why they put a bee over Tyler's face. I think they clearly did that on purpose, but I don't know. I think personally that it would have looked better if they hadn't done that, if they had the bees around him rather than any on his face. It just looks kind of strange that way. The spine and the back of the album are pretty empty. The spine has the name of the album, and the back has just a little bee. There's not really much going on either of those, but I think that the cover of the album has so much stuff going on in it that it kind of speaks for the other parts of the album that, the album case that don't have anything. The inside of the case is also really plain, but there's that little note there that kind of explains what exactly happened with that. Let me see here. According to the little blurb there, it says that Tyler did take photos for this album with a photographer, but some sort of thing happened where they weren't allowed to use them for the album or whatever. So, yeah, something got in the way, I guess, of these album photos that were taken. I'm assuming that's true, so, that kind of explains why there's a lack of photos. But the simple photos that are still on here that I guess Tyler and friends took by themselves, they still look good, and I think that it kind of actually fits pretty well with this whole surreal theme that you could see on the rest of the artwork on the case. Alright, now let's talk about the actual CD itself. It has another one of the bees on the cover on it. I don't know, this CD, I really feel like the artwork on this CD they could have done a lot more with. It's just really plain and simple, and it feels in a lot of ways recycled because it's just the same thing as what you see on the front of the album. I also hate it when CDs are reflective like this because there's probably no other sort of CD design that attracts fingerprints more than a reflective CD. They are extremely easy to get fingerprints on and very hard to get fingerprints off of. So that's just a massive pain. I hate it when they decide to make CDs reflective or a reflective color because fingerprints just cover them so quickly if you're not careful about it. I've got to say though, one pretty cool thing I noticed about this CD while I was taking the pictures of it and everything is that if you hold it up the right way in light, it's actually sort of transparent, which is pretty cool. I don't really know how they did that because I haven't seen that in really any other CDs, but yeah, you can kind of see through it if it's in the right lighting, it just looks really cool. Next, let's move on to the insert that came in the case of the CD. It mainly has the lyrics and credits for every song, which is really cool. There's some pictures of Tyler and some of the rest of Odd Future and other people, the whole people associated with Tyler and that whole group. There's some pictures of them throughout. More of the whole thing of the we had album photos but we couldn't use them, so here's some photos that we took behind the scenes sort of thing. I really like it when albums include lyrics like this because like I've said before, I have a radio show if you guys don't know. So it makes it way easier for me and like other DJs if we want to play a song but there's not a clean version of it out there already. It's easier for us to make a clean version of it if we know where all the swear words are and we can easily figure that out from the lyrics. And it also just makes it easier if you're ever confused about like what was getting said or something. So lyrics are just a huge plus when you're making a album. So lastly, let's move on to my opinion on the actual music and any other sort of extra stuff that I want to bring up here. So I actually bought this album the day it came out as a MP3 download, and then I bought the CD like a few months later on when I saw it in a Barnes & Noble or whatever. And this album, it's a really good album, and I'm sure you guys have seen it before, like heard about it and stuff like that. It's a really good album. A lot of people really like it, and I like it too. But it's not what I expected at all from Tyler, the Creator. It's way calmer than some of his past albums and songs and stuff, especially compared to the other album that I own by him right now is Wulf, and just the level of kind of like swearing and intensity is completely different. And it's really weird too because it almost tricks you in some ways because some of the songs, well, mainly the only song, Who Dat Boy, that's really intense. That's a really intense song, and it was the first one they released online before the album came out. And it just, I don't know, it feels like a weird album out of him. It sounds good, but it's not really something that you would expect out of Tyler, the Creator, if you listen to any of his past albums, especially stuff like Cherry Bomb and things like that. Also, all the CD info is on the disc itself, if I remember correctly. So if you go to rip the CD, it'll have all the info, all the track titles, artists, stuff like that right on the CD, which is always super helpful because then if you rip it, you don't have to go through and add all that stuff in back by yourself, which can take a long time. But yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about this album. If you want to listen to some of the songs off of it, it's easily available on YouTube and streaming services. Well, I don't think all the songs are available on YouTube, but on streaming services they are. And on YouTube, there's at least 3 or 4 of the songs on like Tyler's YouTube channel and stuff. He just made a music video not too long ago, depending on when I actually get around to uploading this. He just made a music video for one of the songs. I can't remember actually which song it was, but it's the one with Kaylee Uchis. Yeah, go check that out and keep an eye out for more CD and cassette and stuff reviews from me. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.